have had our Go Home Dynamite show, but not the last show before Full Gear, but basically our entire card is laid out for Full Gear. We had a contract signing with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship title match. We had a bit of a preview, I guess you could say. We had the six lady match, which I thought was pretty good. We had two good showings on Rampage and on Dynamite of both Brian Danielson and Anthony Bowens. They both had matches on both of those shows. And I thought they were pretty good. And Dante Martin and Lio Rush looked amazing. And I kind of feel bad for his brother Darius at this moment, because when he comes back, it just won't be the same.
Yeah, he's gonna have some catching up to do. It's and I'm sure he knows it. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Where am I?
It's a really good go home show.
Yeah, I thought overall, both Rampage, had that segment with CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, which I thought was amazing. Though a little interesting on how they're playing it up. I'm not sure who's supposed to be the heel and who's supposed to be the babyface in this particular situation.
Well, you know my stance on that. I think that worrying about that stuff is a little passé and overrated.
Yeah, but I don't know who I'm supposed to be rooting for, because both of them kind of came off as dicks.
Well, to me, they both came off as guys who have beef and are going to settle it, and that's going to be awesome to watch. And I don't know, to me, that was all I needed. Now, a lot of people have raised some very interesting theories about this match and the way it's laid out. A lot of similes to the dynamic between Steve Austin and Bret Hart going into that famous submission match at WrestleMania 13. I think they're speculating on what might be a double turn. But again, I think that I think that looking at it that way is a little bit passé. I think that you're definitely there will be a clear direction, and you can decide, who you support in this situation. And that's kind of, to me, what AEW does a lot. Like, there are, clearly a lot of programs where there are, clear-cut heels and baby faces, but the booking of AEW understands something a lot better than I think a lot of people do, and that's that heel and babyface are character traits. They're not like definitive identities.
Sure. Yeah, we can get that. All right, so before we get into the details here, you listen to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and on YouTube, so you can follow the links in the show notes for those. And there's a link to our Discord as well. Follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1, and you can follow Trae at Wrestleism. Info is in the show notes for that. How's it been going for the past couple days since we had the 2-year in review show?
I inexplicably sprained my ankle, and I have no idea how, no idea what I did. I've just had a sprained ankle for probably since the morning after we did that podcast. But other than that, I'm doing all right.
Alrighty. So we're going to step back a little bit here, and we're going to talk Rampage from last Friday. Brian Danielson and Anthony Bowens kicked it off, and they had a really good match, I thought. They had a lot of strikes and submission wrestling to start, and we had Caster getting involved on the outside a few times. Bowens hit an Olympic slam at one point for a 2 count. They went back and forth. Bryan hits his high-speed lariat, bunch of kicks for a 2. And then he hits a running boot in the corner, but Bowens moves out of the way of another one. and basically hits a rope-assisted DDT that he is now a twisting DDT that they're calling the Arrival, which is it's basically a green killer, right? No, it's basically a oh crap. Sonata does it off the top rope.
Yeah, kind of like a twisting green killer, like the way Sonata does it is like a one man what's it called? Magic killer.
Magic killer, right. So basically, this is just the opposite direction. It's face down. So they start face up and they end up face down, whereas Sonatas, they start face down and end up face up. So he hits that, and he uses it in his Dynamite match later on as well. Bryan hits Caster with a drop kick. At one point, sends Bowens to the outside. He does a crossbody to the floor on both of them off the top. Back in the ring, it's a missiled drop kick, and then some stomps to the face and puts on the label lock, and Bowens taps out. I thought this was an awesome match.
This was very, very good, man. Good on Anthony Bowens. A couple of standout performances on these two shows that we're going to talk about. He's pretty good. I saw him on Dark wrestle Matt Seidel at the Dynamite that I went to, and that was a really good match as well.
We had Tony with Andrade at FTR. This was taking place on the previous, or they're saying it was taking place at the previous Dynamite. This after FTR got involved in the Cody Andrade match. And he says, I think we can all agree here that Cody kind of sucks. MJF says, you know the deal. You get my boys FTR for 2 weeks for a little bit of dinero. There's a little play right there. Jose hands over an envelope, and they're like, this isn't enough. So he hands them a second envelope. They're like, pleasure doing business with you. Cash says, so we've won the AAA titles, left Cody laying. And Dax says, but where's Pac, you little British bitch? I'll be there on Wednesday waiting for you. Top guys out.
Yeah, this is funny. Everybody hates Cody. It could be instead of the Rhodes to the top, they could have done a sitcom called Everyone Hates Cody.
Then we had the CM Punk Eddie Kingston segment. Basically, Punk starts off, we have a little bit of beef to settle with Eddie Kingston, and so I'd like to invite him out to my ring. So that's a very arrogant thing to say. Eddie's music hits, but then Eddie doesn't show, and it stops, and CM Punk says, well, maybe he's not here. He wasn't there on Wednesday, but he was there last Friday to interrupt my interview with Tony. Kingston comes out to no music, and he says, what, you want an apology? That's what you said on Wednesday. Answer me when I talk to you. And CM Punk says, well, you were the one who interrupted me. I don't know what I'd be apologizing for. And Kingston goes on, says, I apologize for staying home sick, thinking I might have COVID, getting tested a couple times, making sure I didn't come here and get my friends sick, that they bring it home to their kids. Eddie keeps going on, says, CM Punk, you used to be a hero to me, but now you're just a self-righteous bitch. And basically he continues on blaming CM Punk for a lot of things, kind of talking behind his back in the ROH days. Punk says he and everyone else was trying to hold him to a higher standard, but you never lived up to that because you're a bum. And Eddie says, I'm a bum. This bum I made it here to the greatest wrestling or the only wrestling company in the world now, and no one else. And well, I'm gonna say it because no one else will. No one wants you here. And he says, so why don't you fight me at Full Gear? And Punk says, Full Gear? That seems like a high bar for you. I was thinking more like Elevation or Dark, and something a little bit more your speed. And Eddie says, oh, you're just being a little bitch. Come fight me. Fight me. Fight me. Fight me. Fight. And he says about 10 more times. Punk says, you guys want to see me fight Kingston at Full Gear? Everybody says yes. And Eddie says, you know what? I don't really care about winning or losing at Full Gear. I'm just going to beat your ass. And afterwards, why don't you do me a favor and quit for another 7 years? And Punk headbutts Kingston in the face, and they just start brawling, and a bunch of referees and other personnel have to run down to pull them apart. This segment was awesome.
Well, it's fantastic, and on both ends, like they're bringing up real stuff. Like it's Kingston's criticisms of Punk are like, things we've all heard about Punk over the years or back in the day, and Punk's criticisms of Eddie in turn are valid, and it's been a long time, and just like they kind of ran into each other, and that beef was still there, so they're gonna settle it. And so, what do you think? What do you do with the booking of that match?
I am not totally sure because I'm not sure where they're going with either of them afterwards. I think CM Punk is heading towards MJF possibly after this, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think if the goal is to quote unquote turn Punk heel, and I don't know why you would, I think that'd be pretty dumb. I could see Punk winning. But besides that, like, it kind of feels like this is a match that Eddie should win.
Yeah, I guess one problem is if you keep Punk heel, you keep him babyface, you're going to run into the same problem with what you're running in with Cody right now if he doesn't take a slightly different line.
Yeah, and I'm not saying never turn him heel. I'm just saying, fucking right now, no.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you want to keep him face and do keep him face, you're gonna have to pull back the things that are making people not like Cody are the same thing that CM Punk's almost doing too. So I
think that feels like a lot of it is specifically for the Kingston program. So maybe maybe he'll back off of it after that.
Yeah. Next we had Tony is backstage with Jungleboy, Christian, Luchasaurus, and Luchasaurus says, "Hey, the Elite, they call themselves tough guys. I don't know. I don't know. They don't look so tough after we left them laying like the sacks of shit they are. But since you said it, I need to know how tough you guys really are." And Jungleboy says, "Yeah, I want to find out. So we're making the challenge." Christian Cage, Jurassic Express versus the Super Click, Falls Count Anywhere.
That might be fucking crazy.
Yes. Because Falls Count Anywhere is typically considered a no DQ match, right?
Yeah. Minnesota in November. Let's see if they go outside.
Yeah. This would be actually, yeah, that could be pretty funny. Next up, we had a match in the TBS title tournament. This was Red Velvet against the Bunny. I don't have a ton of recollection of this match, so I don't even remember if it was good or not. It probably wasn't that good, but
it was a match. They went like 3 minutes, and Red Velvet won.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Jade and Mark Sterling were sitting in the front row doing some scouting. Actually, hilarious enough, Justin Roberts, when he started introducing Red Velvet, she was running down to the ring. So he's like, running down to the ring, Red Velvet. And he like dives out of the ring because she's like booking it down there. I thought that was pretty funny.
I love it, like Justin does shit like this, especially like on dark matches with Lance Archer, where he like dragging his opponent to the ring, or with Abaddon, it's crawling to the ring. Just little things like Justin Roberts, you can tell like he gets to have fun in this, job in the ways that he didn't get to in his old job.
Yep. So yeah, Red Velvet blocks down the rabbit hole and hits the last slice for the win. It was a match. It was there. Mark Henry does his triple screen with John Silver and Alex Reynolds on one side and Adam, the Super Click, on the other side. And this, I didn't write down basically what they said, but it was hilarious because John just kept throwing in little quips after everything Adam Cole had to say. And like he was trying to frustrate him. It was funny.
Yeah, and like I don't know if you're up on Dark, but it just the shit with Silver and Reynolds and Adam Cole is just like the most absurd, silly, funny shit, and then this was like a payoff for it. I don't know how to explain. Like, this was funny on its own, but if you watch BTE, it was so much funnier.
Yeah. Oh, just one quick. Could you pull back on your volume a little bit? You're like distorting. I'm not sure what's up with your microphone.
Hold on.
All right. So they had the match of Adam Cole and John Silver. There's a big budge chant to start it off. John Silver mocks Adam Cole baby by doing budge baby, and Cole kicks him right in the face. Cole is selling the concerto, though, that he got on Wednesday. He's not that steady on his feet at times. Whenever he gets hit in the head or he does something really quickly, he gets kind of like a look of vertigo or whatever. There's a huge Johnny Hungy chant. Silver throws Cole around a bit. They fight up on the apron. Cole snaps Silver down onto the apron. Cole puts the camel clutch on the floor, and Bucks have a super kiss party. Heat on Silver for a while. Cole hits this crazy Ushigoroshi, then starts exchanging strikes. Silver hits a bunch of mid kicks, a back body drops, hit out powerbomb for 2. They exchange forearms, a bunch of kicks from Silver. Cole hits another crazy Ushigoroshi variant. We get a massive lariat from Silver, running boot to the back of the head, German suplex, running knee. Matt puts Cole's leg on the rope, though, during the pin. Dark Order come down to take care of the Bucks, and the ref is dealing with this. Cole goes for a low blow, but Silver blocks it. He turns around and kicks Cole right in the nuts, hits a spinning Liger bomb, and everybody thought it was over, but Cole kicks out. They fight up to the top rope. Silver gets pushed off. Silver blocks the Panama Sunrise, hits a running elbow strike. Then Cole hits him with a super kick, hits him with the boom, and gets the win. Again, really good match. So we had 2 excellent matches on this show and 1 match that was there.
It's better to turn the sensitivity down.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, very good match. A lot of fun. Johnny Hungy, people love him, and it's like always awesome when he gets to, be in a big spot like this.
Then we move on to Dynamite last night, October. Oh, wait a minute. We're in November. November 10th, 2021. And they kick it off with Brian Danielson versus Rocky Romero.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I wrote in the chat, because some people, when actually pretty much all of us started watching it late, I'm like, oh, we're going to start off with Danielson versus Rocky. And Daryl's like, Romero? I'm like, yeah. I don't know how this match came about. Do you?
They announced it on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But, for those of us who've been watching New Japan for quite some time now, Rocky Romero is awesome. He's a New Japan, I guess you could say New Japan legend at this point, because he's been there for like 20 years.
Not like the full time, but it's funny because the deal here, and it's funny, these guys are both kind of natives of the New Japan system. Like they didn't like start in the dojo the way like a Jay White did. They were both already trained in wrestling, but they spent time in the original LA dojo and touring Japan. And the funny thing is, the time that they were like starting to tour with New Japan was like right around the same time that I started watching New Japan. So I don't know, it was a homecoming of sorts in a way.
So, best friends join Rocky Romero out. There's a long history of Rocky Romero with Chuck Taylor and Trent. So only makes sense that.
Did you catch? And they explained it, but they also, if there was like a video posted on Twitter that Rocky had. He said he just got off the phone with Okada, and he invited them, the group of them, to join Chaos, which like. Chuck Taylor was already kind of a member of Chaos. He like always teamed with them. It was funny because Orange says, "I don't know what that's. I have no idea what you're talking about." And then like I guess he agrees to it. So the deal here is that Best Friends are officially part of Chaos now.
Yeah, and I already thought that Trent and Chuck Taylor were. I guess they were, and then they weren't, and now they are again. I guess they never got disowned by the group, so they just weren't there.
Yeah, so with New Japan factions, it seems like, except for Bullet Club, who are a bunch of persnickety bitches, if you leave and you're a part of a faction, you still stay a part of the faction, which is why Archer is still a member of Suzuki-gun. Shelton Benjamin, technically, still representing Suzuki-gun.
And so that would make Chris Statlander the only female in Chaos.
Yeah. I was trying to think about like the random, but yeah, like Peter and Miho is like Bullet Club, and Miho Abe is Suzuki-gun. So yeah, I guess. Hey man, I am still a proponent. Get Chris and Stardom representing Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot that B left and went to WWE, so she can be in the Empire.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Rocky and Brian Danielson shake hands before they started off. Lots of mat work from both of these guys starting off. Bunch of kicks in the corner from Danielson. Danielson works a Romero special. Rocky escapes when Danielson starts to add in this Dragon Sleeper. Tornado DDT from Rocky. They exchange a bunch of strikes. Rocky hits a missile drop kick to the side of the head when Bryan is stuck in the ropes. Running lariats in the corner. The forever lariats, though there's only two of them. But then Bryan hits a rolling elbow and a German suplex for two. Danielson hits a couple of strikes, sets Rocky up on the top rope. Bryan goes for a suplex, but Rocky turns around in midair, basically crossbody splashes him on the ground for a 2 count. It looked like he might have like kneed Bryan in the face or landed really on his head, because it looked like that happened, and second, how he covered, it definitely looked like he was talking to him to make sure that he was okay.
Yeah.
Tries to put on an arm bar, but Bryan powers him up, hits a power bomb for a double down. More strikes back and forth. Rocky goes for a flying armbar. Bryan works it into a calf slicer. Rocky back to the armbar. Bryan works it to an ankle lock. Back to the armbar with Rocky. Bryan gets up, kicks to the face, or stomps to the face. Rocky comes back with a jumping knee, but Bryan then hits the grabs the wrist and does the stomps to the face and puts on the label lock, and but he can't get it, and then goes for and then submits Rocky with the Tequila Sunrise.
Yeah, so Brian Danielson just fucking loves to wrestle, and he is living his best life, just coming out of these shows and casually having like the best match of the week every week. They played for Rocky. They played the Roppongi Vice theme, and I know everybody likes the Roppongi Vice theme, but I was bummed that they didn't play Rocky's awesome solo theme. But anywho,
yeah, that was kind of weird.
Loved this match because it felt like a match between two guys who spent their formative wrestling years in the New Japan system.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were little things in here that to me just felt like New Japan, and I love the finish, which was Bryan going for his signature hold, Rocky knowing what's coming and blocking it, so Bryan just transitions into another hold that you wouldn't expect him to do. And that's been one of the most awesome things about Bryan in AEW, is like he wins almost every match with a different hold.
Yes.
And this match was really good and really cool, and sometime soon Brian Danielson is going to wrestle Zack Sabre Jr., and once I see that match, I believe I can die happy. And also, if Bryan is just going to wrestle random New Japan guys on TV, Can I get Bryan versus Yuya Uemura, please?
Yu Uemura, Shooter, Ishii. Yes, there's so many.
Oh, and I guess I should probably save it for later, but since I'm thinking about it, saw a new Rev Pro posted a promo from Shooter, who I guess has been in Japan nursing a knee injury, but he is wrestling Will Ospreay for the British Heavyweight title, and sometime later this month. I think he said quote was that he was gonna fuck Will Ospreay up.
All right, we had Tony. He's in the ring. He's introducing the Inner Circle, talking about the 10-man tag. Inner Circle come out. They're posing up on the stage before they make their way to the ring, but American Top Team attack from behind. They beat them down. They hold up Sammy for Junior to punch him in the gut. Santana gets tossed into the ring stairs. Kendo stick to Ortiz. Jericho hit with a trash can lid. They set up a table in the ring. Lambert sits up on the top rope. Men of the Year hoists Jericho up to help powerbomb him through the table. Sky gets on the mic, says, "This is just a small piece of what we can do. You're going to get the whole thing at Full Gear." Ethan Page, not only are we going to win, but we're going to make sure Dan Lambert pins Chris Jericho, but that's on Saturday night. Tonight, Dan Lambert's going to tap him out. So Dan puts on the walls of Jericho, and Sky grabs Jericho's hand and starts banging it against the mat, basically forcing him to tap. And Dan Lambert's, "This isn't the walls of Jericho, this is the Boston Crab." It was awesome.
Yeah, so a lot of people really hate the storyline. I don't hate it. Like, I have too much Enochiism in my blood, so I have a soft spot for MMA fighters trying their hand at pro wrestling. That said, I hope that the Inner Circle wins on Saturday, and that's the end of this feud, or at least the end of the American Top Team side of it. Like, he's a good performer, but this is a one-note character, and we've heard the same note for 4 months now.
Yeah. So hopefully, I'm assuming that's the end of it, and it is going to be the opposite of what they say. Dan Lambert isn't going to be pinning Jericho. Jericho is going to be pinning Lambert. That's what I assume.
I suspect so.
Or tapping him out. Either way is fine.
Yeah.
Next up, we had a 6-woman tag: Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel versus Thunder Rosa, Ty Conti, and Anna Jay. Thunder Rosa and company attack right away. Britt bails to the outside, but ends up getting back into the ring, and Rosa and Britt are actually the legal women who started off. We have a breakdown. Everybody's just brawling. Anna gets triple teamed by Team Britt on the outside. They get the heat on Anna for a while. Jamie lays in a bunch of forearms, and she throws that shit in there. And more people need to take a cue from how Jamie throws in her forearms, because they look great. Britt tags in, and Anna hits a bit of a flurry and gets a tag to Ty Conti. She wipes out all of Team Britt, hits running pumping kicks to all of them in the corner, hits the Ty KO on Jamie. Britt breaks up the pin. Britt hits a rolling elbow. Jamie hits a backbreaker. Britt hits a thrust kick to the midsection. Everybody kind of runs through and hits a big move on somebody else. Anna and Britt exchange kicks. Rosa hits a crossbody off the top to the floor on Jamie. And Jamie took it more like how she would in the ring and not when you're on the floor. So she jumped up and was already heading down to the mat before Rosa hit her and just slammed her into the mat. I assume she was okay.
That was rough.
It was rough.
It looked great.
Yeah.
I hope she didn't kill herself.
Yeah, it looked great, but if you're taking a crossbody on the floor, you just stand there and wait for them to hit you, not like when you're in the ring and you start taking the back bump before they actually hit you. Ty Conti stares down Britt as she has Rebel hits her with the DD tie and pins her, and Britt just left Rebel to the wolves, basically.
Tony said it was a business decision.
Sorry, you were breaking up there. What?
And Tony said Britt made a business decision to not get involved.
Yeah.
When so, yeah, it was pretty good. They've done a good job of making Ty look dangerous. Like Ty versus Britt feels like a strong championship match.
She also throws her punches in there too.
Yeah, like I don't think it's time for Tay to win the title, and I definitely don't think it's time for Britt to lose it. But like, if Tay wins the title, it's not going to be a bad thing. She has momentum, and she's always improving in the ring, and she's fucking over. So, and also Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter in the TBS tournament is going to be awesome because their interactions in this match were indicative of great violence to come.
Yeah, I don't think it's time for Ty Conti to win, but I mean, if she stays in AEW for the next 4 years, I'm sure she will probably become the champion if she continues this trajectory of improvement and having decent matches. And she's only 26 now, so she's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Then we had a little hype video for Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho in the TBS tournament. I thought this was a decent promo. I didn't really write anything down about it, but it was a fun little hype video.
It's a good little promo. They're probably going to have a good match.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Jungleboy versus Anthony Bowen. So Bowen's getting his second match here on TV in 4 days, and I have to say, it's not just Brian Danielson, because Anthony Bowens had an excellent match here with Jungleboy. And they start with some basic back and forth. Caster again gets involved behind the ref's back. Bowens gets into a shouting match with a lady at ringside. I'm not sure if that was staged or just spur of the moment, but it looked convincing either way. So he's took his eye off Jungleboy for a minute. Jungleboy's standing on the outside, and Bowens goes to chop him, but Jungleboy ducks, and Bowens chops the ring post with his hand. Caster throws Jungleboy into the barricade behind the ref's back, though. Jungleboy starts to make a little bit of a comeback, hits a dive on Caster on the outside. When he gets back in the ring, though, Bowens hits the arrival. Though a few moments later, Jungleboy gets on the snare trap, and they are facing where Caster is standing, and Caster is trying to reach in to grab Bowens' hand to pull him towards the ropes. Jungleboy just gives him the middle finger, and Bowens is forced to tap out. It was a good visual right there. I think it worked very well. Yeah. And Jungleboy growing out his beard a little bit, so he's looking a little bit more scruffy. They mentioned that he's like, yeah, he hasn't shaved in like a week.
Caster's rap, he had a line about Jungleboy leaving his girlfriend alone with 7 guys. I thought that was kind of funny.
That was funny.
Match was pretty good. Like, just made me feel like the future of AEW is in good hands because these guys are good and they're going to get better.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Fish jumped Jungleboy after the match, doing Adam Cole's dirty work.
Yeah, which we find out later, but yes.
Which I think like everybody, I don't know, just based on like being on Twitter during the thing, everybody was like, "Oh shit," and then they confirmed it.
Yep. So Bobby Fish ran out, attacked Jungleboy. Christian and Luchasaurus run out, but Fish bails before they can even get to him. So, yep, we have that. I just checked. Anthony Bowens is only 30. He turns 31 a few days after I turn. Oh, Jesus. How old am I this year? 39. Holy crap. We have a Hangman Page video. And Kenny Omega basically hyping it up. Hangman says, last year I watched my friends become tag team champion and world champion, and I had to just sit back and watch. You can only fall so many times. Omega says, I can never really relate to you, Hangman, which is probably why the fans take to you and I never could. I don't lose big matches. So he says, I don't lose big matches. You always lose big matches. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
Yep. Super Click are backstage, and Cole says, how good was it to see Jungleboy get his ass kicked? And he says, I wanted to talk to you about him. Let me introduce Bobby Fish. And Buck say, we knew who Bobby is. But Bobby, here in AEW, there is no era dispute. This is the era of the elite, of the super clique. But if Adam vouches for somebody, you're cool. And Cole says, yeah, how about on Rampage, Bobby gets to fight Jungleboy one-on-one and do some more damage. But just do us a favor and leave us a little piece for us at Full Gear.
Kyle O'Reilly has to be marking the days on his calendar until his contract is up.
Yeah. Him, Kevin Steen. I don't know what he would go by, El Generico. But all those guys will be out like, I gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I hope.
Then somebody pointed out, this is just an aside, that like the whole thing, like the genesis of AEW may be when Cody left WWE, Kevin Owens was the one who like put him in touch with the Young Bucks and like, hey, take care of my friends. So there's a claim that there's like, I don't know, there's built-in stuff to do there when it happens.
Finn Balor, yeah, Prince Devitt. How awesome would it be to have Prince Devitt in AEW?
And back in New Japan.
Yeah, forget AEW. Just send him back to New Japan. That's what I want to see. Then we had a CM Punk and Eddie Kingston hype video. Says nothing comes easy to Kingston. When Punk was a rising star, he was a trainee. They basically recap what happened on Friday. This was fine. Just hyping up that match.
Yeah, good stuff.
Then we had Wheeler Yuta getting destroyed by Wardlow. Yuta runs out with a shotgun dropkick right away. Wardlow like no sells it. He keeps going for drop kicks. Eventually he does hit one. He goes for some kind of springboard crossbody out of the second rope, but he slipped. But it didn't matter because Wardlow just grabbed him, hit a spine buster, hit him with 4 power bombs, and then casualty of war, and got the victory. So pretty destroyed.
Give Wardlow credit for realizing that the knee didn't look good enough to cause the referee stop like it usually does, so he just pinned him instead. And then we had another Hardy Family Office attack on the Best Friends. And okay, the fact that they went out of their way to mention Chaos and make that connection, Okada and Ishii have got to be showing up on Dynamite next week, right?
I mean, we could hope, but who the hell knows?
I think we're going to get like a big Chaos versus HFO like multi-man tag match. And then I hope, just my dream, I want Ishii versus Miro.
Yes. I want next year, if the world is opened up, I want Miro, Brian Danielson, Moxley, all in the G1 next year.
Oh man, if only.
All right, onward we go. We have Leo Rush and Dante Martin versus Matt Seidel and Lee Moriarty. Holy crap, this was awesome. We have some really unorthodox grappling and chain wrestling from Lee and Dante to start it off. And then Leo and Matt get tagged in, and Leo is just flying all around. He does crazy 90-degree turns off the ropes. And we have a breakdown into a brawl. They get the heat on Dante for a bit. Dante hits his big diving sunset flip. And then he comes back with a springboard drop kick to get a tag out to Leo. Lee takes him down a couple times, hits a twisting face buster for 2. Crazy flying around and kicks from Leo Rush. He hits a handspring double back elbows on Seidel and Moriarty. Big topes out one side and then the other. And then some, I don't even know what to call it. It was a weird twisting slam that I could not describe if I had to.
I remember the spot, but yeah, lots of crazy stuff that's been. Lee Moriarty, so freaking awesome. Like he's like his biggest inspiration as a wrestler is the original Tiger Mask, which is like defined like all of modern wrestling, but then he also studies like Negro Navarro and does the kind of lucha technical stuff. He's awesome. He's a wrestler after my own heart.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of him. He's been doing stuff on New Japan Strong, right? Was that him?
No, not him, not yet.
I could have sworn Lee Moriarty was doing stuff on New Japan Strong, but I guess not. Both Dante and Rush are taken off the top rope by various moves from Matt and Lee. We get a 2 count on Dante. Kicks from Leo takes out Matt. Dante hits his double springboard moonsault on Lee and gets the victory. This match was so fun.
Yeah, this was like an updated version of a really good cruiserweight match during the heyday of Nitro. This was just awesome.
Yes. But I'm curious where this goes. I feel bad for his brother because when Darius comes back, what are they going to do when it's Leo Rush and Dante Martin are together and having like insane matches?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's going somewhere and that it's all going to work out.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to get Leo versus Dante at some point before Darius comes back. And that match is going to be bonkers.
Yeah. Very awesome.
Then we have a Miro video promo, and Miro is just so damn good. So good. He says, Brian, this isn't personal. You're everything to some, but you are nothing to me. You're just a body standing between a man and his wife. Tell me, do you know my God? Is he blessing me or messing with me? Is he willing to trade my bad neck for yours? Because I need to win this tournament. I need to put the world title over my shoulder and the world champion under my ground. I don't do this because my God blessed me, but because he feared me, just like you should. And he says, you say you come here to feel alive, but you got to understand, you're pushing a man who's holding the scythe. This isn't personal. All you have to do is say goodbye to your wife so I can say hello to mine. It's so good.
This was awesome. Miro's the greatest.
Yeah. At this point, if Paige wins the title, I would not mind if Miro took it right off of him, because Miro is just excellent right now. Though, him losing the shot and then CJ coming in, like, really pissed off at him, could be very entertaining as well.
Yeah, a lot of, but, like, it's funny, Brian and Punk just came in, and now we're like, I really think both of them should be losing on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, right?
It's not that either one of them should be losing, it's that the other guy should be winning.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of tough, there's like, so many of the matches on the Full Gear card could go either way, and either way would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, man, isn't it great when a promotion is like well booked and whatever you get, you're gonna enjoy it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna talk about those matches at the end of this show, but I'm looking at them right now, and there's like, none that I could say definitively should go one way or the other. All right, we have Dax Harwood versus Pac, and again, excellent match. Basic lockup to start, doing some standing work and then some chain wrestling. It gets a "This is wrestling" chant. They start throwing some strikes, snap German from Pac. Dax is sent to the floor. Pac hits a twisting dive, barely gets any of Dax though, and like crashes face first onto the ground. But Dax's chest is bleeding from the chops that he suffered earlier. Those are some hard chops if you are bleeding from the chest. Even Brian Danielson doesn't start bleeding. He just turns really, really red. They fight on the floor. Dax gets backdropped onto the ramp. They go back and forth in the ring. Dax is set up on the top rope, and Pac hits a super sheer drop brainbuster. Holy crap.
Yeah, this was a highly technical version of a mean guy match.
Yeah.
And that like these guys are both great wrestlers, but they're really mean and nasty wrestlers. Dax got an abdominal stretch, so JR got a Wilbur Snyder reference in, and then Pocket that really nasty brain buster, so JR got the Dick Murdoch and Killer Carl Cox references. This was very violent, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Dax kicks out at 2 after the brainbuster. Pac hits a shotgun drop kick off the top rope between the shoulder blades of Dax. Pac climbs to the top. Dax rolls to the other side. Pac goes after him with a running uppercut and a running boot. Tully pulls Dax out of the way of another running boot and hits a brainbuster of his own for 2. Pac hits a thrust kick, goes up top, but Dax gets up, goes after him, hits a super back suplex. Back and forth they go. We get a lariat and a rebound Liger bomb from Dax for 2. Uppercuts from Dax. Pac tries a backslide and quickly goes into the brutalizer. And before he can even get it fully locked on, Dax knows he is fucked and starts tapping before he's even there. But Pac is like, screw this, I'm still holding it here. He just keeps it on. So Cash has to run out to make the save. Pac gets beaten down. Then the lights go out. They come back on, and both Andrade and Malachi Black are standing there. They continue the beatdown on Pac. Lucha Bros run down from the stage. Cody runs out through the crowd to join the fight as well. And they just brawl until they kind of get separated after that.
Yeah, fun stuff. Big kerfluffle, building to some stuff. That was fun. You know, in theory, Dax knows that he has a tag title match on Saturday, so he doesn't want to get injured. So he taps immediately, and then Pac decides to stretch him anyway.
Yep. But this was a excellent match. So lots of excellent matches here on AEW this week. So
yeah.
Good stuff. They run down the card for Rampage tomorrow night. Jungleboy versus Bobby Fish, and then Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy in a lumberjack match. And then I'm assuming there's a women's match of some kind that they're putting on the show, but I don't know what it would be. Probably one of the TBS Eliminator matches.
The pre-show we have, like, it's Nyla and somebody. It's Nyla and Jamie Hayter against Thunder Rosa and
Sheeta.
Fuck, what's her name?
Sheeta.
Yes. By the way, if you remember back, the linear AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament champions.
Really? Were they?
Yeah, because
together? I can't remember.
They had the match. They were the only team that beat Ivelisse and Diamante in a 2-on-2 tag match.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I assume because that is on the buy-in, it would be Statlander and Ruby at Rampage?
Yes, I believe that match is on Rampage.
That would kind of make the most sense. All right, then we have the card for Full Gear, but we're going to talk about it after the final match, so we can go into that stuff in depth. They do a Darby and MJF hype video. Nothing overly what is the word I'm looking for? Enlightening. Nothing enlightening in that particular video. It was fine.
There you go.
They show the Dark Order and the Elite have both been barred from the building. They've been kicked out of the building for the contract signing between Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. So they show both those factions leaving with their bags.
Which immediately made me go, okay, who's not there?
Right. Pretty much. They did a really good job with it. I thought it was fun. I'm like, okay, where's this going? Where's it coming? And then right at the end, I'm like, there it is, which was fine. Yeah. And there was a hilarious twist to it as well, but we'll talk to it when we get there. So, Paige and Kenny come down to the ring. Tony is there basically moderating. They're sitting across from each other at a long table. Paige says, the sooner we get this done, the sooner we get to Full Gear, and I beat your ass for that title. This is a loud cowboy shit chant. Kenny says, I wish I could share your excitement. I wish I could share the excitement on all these fine fans. But I gotta say, I'm a little sad. We were friends. We were partners. We were like family in the Elite. See everything here? This all was meant for you. But if it wasn't for your insecurities and your failures, you have that cowboy spirit. You say you fall off the horse, you get right back in that saddle. I wish the cameras saw how it really was. It was never you. It was always us that picked you up every time and sat you back on that horse and sent you back out there. And why did we do that? Even when you walked away, we invited you back because, I saw a little bit of myself in you. But how wrong I was. What a disappointment you are. And Hangman says, you talk about me choking, you talk about my failures, but if I remember, you used to have a tag partner that you felt like you didn't measure up to either. Which gets a huge "oh" from the crowd. So that is a good sign that everybody knew who he was talking about.
Yeah.
And then he says, I looked at you across the table. You see the best bout machine, the AEW champ for almost a year. But, I might say that now you have surpassed him. And over the past few years, you've told me a lot of lies. You told me I wasn't good enough. You told me I couldn't be as good as you. But the biggest lie was last year after you beat me at Full Gear for the Eliminator tournament. You knelt over my body and said, "Good job, Hangman. I'm proud of you." You weren't proud of me. You were afraid of me. You didn't want me to feel the pain of loss like you have. You didn't want it to light a fire under my ass. And you feared that I'd become like you and what I will become like after this Saturday and I become champion. And then Omega says, what I did, I did it because I care about you. I wanted to stand her at this table so you could realize your potential. And I don't know if we'll ever be friends again, but I want to stand here and shake your hand right now. Let's tear it up at the pay-per-view. They shake hands and says, "I'm proud of you, Hangman." And he starts walking away. And there's a cameraman that walked in front of the shot that we were already seeing.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's somebody. I thought it was Nakazawa for a second, but I was wrong.
Okay.
The cameraman decks Hangman from behind, and it is Don Callis. The funniest thing is, though, he has a medical mask on, and he takes that off, and he has a fake beard and mustache on.
Don Callis is the fucking man. Oh my god.
So he was already wearing a mask, and then he takes it off, and he has a fake mustache and goatee on. It was so funny.
That was great, man. Don Callis is... Like, I've actually kind of missed him. I'm glad he's back.
So he basically says, the greatest thing the devil ever did was convince everybody that he didn't exist. I've been gone for 6 weeks, and you all forgot about me. And then Hangman is bleeding, and Kenny uses Hangman's blood to sign the contract.
Which is like the ultimate in the go home angle. You sign the contract in your opponent's blood.
Mm-hmm.
This was fucking money. This was awesome. And I just... Man, how can you, have seen... I don't think anybody who's actually seen all the build can think anything but, the only right finish for this match is Hangman pinning Omega and winning the title. It needs to happen. It needs to happen here. Timing is everything in storytelling, and just the way they built it, Hangman has to win this match.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have to, though it's still, Kenny still has plenty to do as champion, so even if he won, this is still like, either way it goes, it's still going to be good, regardless of the outcome. This is like every one of these matches, I could see them going one way or the other, and it be working no matter what.
And the thing is, like, it's kind of like when you watch New Japan, and you know, if you've been watching it, and you know how kind of the long-term patterns work. Omega will be champion again and have another incredible run. This may not even be his best title run. He will probably get another one in a couple of years. But this is the story that they have been telling since pretty much day one in AEW, and I feel like that's the fulfillment of the story they've been telling. Hangman needs to win the title on this night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so much we could do with this. We had the references to Kota Ibushi, which helps my cause of saying that Kenny Omega versus Ibushi is going to happen by this time next year. that was one of my predictions, so hopefully we do see that happen. But Ibushi's got it. I think Ibushi's okay. He's going to make Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah,
I think they said expected about 2 months, so he should be all right for Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't think this will happen, but it would be awesome if it did. If Kenny Omega kept the championship here, and he shows up night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom after Ibushi quickly takes the title off of Okada, and he comes out there with the AEW championship, title for title challenge. I don't care where.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but that'd be awesome. All right, so let's talk about the Full Gear card, and the two of us can lay out our predictions and see how poorly we do. Started off here, they're going to be on the buy-in, Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa. Should be a decent match. Hikaru Shida, Rosa, and Hayter are all quite good, and Rose is okay. So we'll see where it goes. But I'm gonna definitely take the baby faces, Shida and Rosa, on this one. Just it's the buy-in. Got to make everybody happy to start it off.
Yeah, might as well.
Then we have CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. This one is such a toss-up. It is, this is, again, a complete toss-up. No idea. There's no wrong answer. So I'm not sure which way they're going to go. But I think they're going to go Punk this way. I think they want to turn Eddie Kingston heel. But again, that's an issue with if Moxley is going to be with Kingston, because once Moxley comes back, it's going to be almost impossible to make him a heel. So I have no idea. I think they're going to go with Punk here, though.
I'm going to go ahead and say Eddie.
All right. Any reasoning behind that one?
Well, more or less what I laid out earlier, that just did, depending on where they go, but just... I have assumptions about where I think the story is going to go, but this is a well-booked promotion that tells stories really well. So if I'm wrong, I'm not going to be upset, because usually if they don't do what I imagined, like, it doesn't mean that it's a bad decision. And I think that's what a lot of online criticism boils down to, was that, like, this booking was bad because it didn't match my fantasy booking. But just based on my observation of the angle and where I think they would be going in the immediate future, I'm going to say Eddie gets a big win here.
Then we have Miro versus Brian Danielson, essentially a number 1 contenders match. Again, could be up in the air, could play it out. Don't know if Moxley was supposed to originally win or if Brian Danielson was supposed to originally win. I am not sure, but I kind of want Miro to win this match by the skin of his teeth.
I also think Miro, and I think as I have said, I think Hangman has to win the title, and I think Hangman and Bryan is not the direction you want to go right now. But I think Miro is an awesome challenger.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm going to say Miro.
Inner Circle versus American Top Team in a street fight. This is pretty sure Inner Circle. At least I'm going to Inner Circle on this one.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Inner Circle.
Ty Conti versus Britt Baker, AEW Women's Championship. We kind of discussed this. Not time for Ty to take it off. Not time for Britt to lose the title. And Ty has plenty of time. So I'm going with Britt.
I agree, Britt.
FTR versus Lucha Bros for the AEW Tag Team Championship. This match is going to be awesome. I think this has potential to be match of the night, though there's like 4 matches on this card that could be match of the night. But Lucha Bros haven't had the titles very long. FTR already has the AAA Tag Champions. They're going to defend those in December at some point, probably against the Lucha Bros. So I say the AEW Tag Champs are staying where they are.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Lucha Bros too. This match, and they've had a match before, and it's been like over a year ago, so I don't really remember it that thoroughly. But just on the surface of it, this seems like a styles clash to me, and I wonder. I hope that they can make it work better than the way that it looks in my head on the surface of it. But yeah, as far as winners, I think Lucha Bros keep it.
Then we have the Super Click versus the Jurassic Express in a Falls Count Anywhere match. This one's really up in the air for me. I think the Super Click are going to pull it out, and somehow this is going to cause Christian to turn on Jungleboy.
It's maybe like the one match of the card that I got no fucking idea. I'll say just to be different from you on another one, I will say that Christian and
Jurassic Express.
I almost said Jungle Express, and then I almost said Lucha Express, Jurassic Express.
Next up, we have MJF versus Darby Allen. I don't see this being match of the night. Should be a decent one, but I have no idea which way they're going to go with this. MJF has only lost like 2 matches, a title match to Moxley, and then the match to Jericho at All Out. But other than that, they have kept MJF very strong. Do they have to knock him here so he's not immediately in the title picture for Hangman so he can come back All Out time to face Hangman for the title?
I don't think so. I don't think that a loss would really hurt either of them here. It's based on timeline. Again, I don't know. I'm just kind of eyeballing things and thinking about patterns and timing and stuff. I actually see MJF versus Hangman probably at Double or Nothing, maybe even around Revolution time. So I don't think that there's a need to take steam off of MJF here. And I actually I guess, again, based on my own mental conjecture, I'm going to say MJF.
Alrighty, so we have the opposites on that one too. We have a lot of we have more disagreement than normal. Right now we have 1, 2, 3 matches we disagree on, which is pretty good.
Either way, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of these, every one of these matches could go the opposite direction of what we picked, and it would be perfectly fine. And same with this one: Malachi Black and Andrade versus Cody Rhodes and Pac. I don't have a clue on what they're going to do here. I would think it's going to be Black and Andrade winning. I don't know who eats the fall of Pac and Cody.
Probably Cody.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be Black pinning Cody, but that would just rehash that thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I also think Andrade and Malachi are probably going to win. And I had not thought of this until right now. Do you think they're going toward Andrade and Malachi versus the Lucha Bros?
That would be interesting because Andrade was the one who hired FTR to fight the Lucha Bros,
Right.
so they have issues with the Lucha. Yeah, I could see them having an issue with Death Triangle, Pac being part of Death Triangle here. Yeah, I could see that. That match would be crazy.
Yes.
I kind of hope it happens now.
Me too.
And then we have the main event of the evening, Adam Hangman Page facing Kenny Omega for the AEW Men's World Championship. I think we're all pretty solid on Hangman on this one, but even if they don't go that way, still, Kenny has plenty to do as champion, so really still no wrong answer on these.
Yeah, it's not that it's time for Kenny to lose. It's that it is time for Hangman to win.
Right. So, yes, very, and inevitably we're going to be wrong on a good hunk of these because that's what happens every time we do these. Because AEW, it's hard to pick one because AEW is so good that either side could win, and it makes sense.
It's not like the other place where you pick based on logic and then they do the opposite just to do the opposite. Like, whatever they do is going to be in service of a coherent story, and it's going to make me happy because that's what I want in wrestling, coherent stories.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a strong card of really good matches.
Yeah, this is going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, so, like, I think this is probably... I'm looking forward to this show probably more than most of the other pay-per-views. Definitely more than All Out was. I think this is really high on my list of looking forward to.
See, I think like All Out felt like a bigger show, but
After
this
the
feels
fact.
like a better show.
All Out felt like a bigger show after the fact because we had so many good debuts.
Well, just like with all the buzz and with Punk having his first match, like there was a lot, going into it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing is that they have 4 pay-per-views a year, and they load them up with awesome stuff, and you get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, don't forget, if you use a VPN to watch Dynamite and Rampage on AEW Plus on Fight, you should also use that method to buy the pay-per-view.
Yes, and if you do use a VPN, they've started to catch on to those. Use one that gives you a unique IP just for you, because they're starting to block the bulk ones. So I know PIA gives you a dedicated IP included with your package, and you can pick wherever in the world. So that IP is yours, and nobody else is going to be using it, so it won't get flagged as being a VPN IP. So and that saves you $30.
I will just hope to continue to not have any problems with NordVPN.
Sounds good. So yeah, that's I think all we have here on AEW. Anything else you wanna discuss with AEW before we wrap it up here, and then we will be back in after a short break, talking some New Japan.
Yeah, there were like several tendrils of thought that have been like itching to transition to talking about New Japan. So. Yeah, good stuff happening in AEW this week. Big show this weekend, and it's going to be awesome.
Yep, looking forward to it. I assume we're going to try to do the Full Gear post show on Sunday evening because they're doing a good old Saturday night pay-per-view, which I love AEW for doing the Saturday nights.
Yeah, me too.
So we'll be back with that. I'll see if we can get Dave and or Caleb back, and we can have a nice little round table on it because they were they both like doing the second year in review show. So hopefully we can have them back. All right. So thanks everybody for listening. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and on YouTube. If you are going to stick around for New Japan, the YouTube is going to be on a separate link. Just stay on the Twitch if you are going to be watching on Twitch, so you can come watch that. We'll be talking about Power Struggle. And yeah. You can follow the links in the show notes to all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1. You can follow Trae at WrestleIsm. Both of those are down in the show notes as well. There's a link to our Discord. You can come hang out with us in the chat. So that's it for now. We'll be back in a little bit talking New Japan. So until then, for Trae, my name's Eric. You've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.